Right. For real.
Uhuru!
Uhuru!
Hands off Africa!
Hands off Uhuru!
Hands off Uhuru! Hands off Africa! Hands off Chairman O'Malley Yeshitela! Hands off Africa! Uhuru! So welcome. This is the workshop for the tour, and of course we'll be going on the tour shortly. But I did want to be able to open up the workshop and just say, you know, I'm a proud member of the African People's Solidarity Committee, one of the many Solidarity members who work directly under the leadership of Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela in the dynamic, relentless office of the Deputy Chair. I want to salute my leadership, Chairman O'Malley Yeshitela, courageous worldwide leader of the African Revolution, and just really, you know, really say that what an honor it is and how much we appreciate the chairman to be able to be part of building the new world, vision of the new world under the anti-colonial African Revolution through reparations and genuine solidarity. Uhuru. Uhuru. I want to salute my leadership, Chairwoman Penny Hess, who boldly took the courageous stand of solidarity. She could hear the party when most of us and the white colonizer nation was mired in opportunism. She could hear what the party was saying and pulled all of us in, one after the other after the other. Uhuru. I want to salute Chair Jesse, Vice Chair Amanda, the incredible national leadership of USM, and the incredible, so proud, the St. Louis organizing committee of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and the march happened in such a dynamic way. I asked to introduce Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela. You know, I can say that you probably already know Deputy Chair's built and developed and branded 50 economic institutions and entities that are the basis of the anti-colonial economy, negating the colonial mode of production. Just some of them, it's a little fraction, you know, like Africans 1 billion strong, building the economic foundation of the African nation. Black Star Industries, creating commerce for and between African people everywhere. Uhuru Foods and Pies, building an independent African economy. Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles, driven by African self-determination. Everything points to African self-government. She's built the doula program, the Uhuru Banking, which is like a micro loan program, and NEBA, the African National Independence. It's the bank, it's a business organization, the African National Business Association. There's so many things about her vision, building the whole economic foundation of the African nation. That's what all of this is about. But, you know, really, to me, the thing we're here today to talk about really the mountaintop here in St. Louis, Missouri. The real slave state, centrally located in the heart of imperialism, where the party planted the red, black, and green flag. But I also want to make the point that the chairman has often said, you know, people can like come to a meeting or come to an organization and think it was always like that. Or they can come to an institution and think it was always like that. But clearly, you know, the answer is no. When Deputy Chair came to St. Louis, you know, the chairman and the party's goal was to identify a building for an organizing center. And we're sitting in that building right now. If any of you have ever seen the photographs, you'll know that they were not floorboards, they were joists, floor joists exposed. I mean, Jesse's foot almost went down to the basement once. You know, it was maybe plywood lie down on it, you know, African workers really taking this building on piece by piece. There was no bathrooms, no heat, no HVAC, no plumbing, no electricity. So even the first meetings, the very first meeting, week one, when Maureen and I arrived, week one was a meeting here. And it was like, you know, 106 degrees, 100 degrees. And you couldn't put a fan on because it was all concrete all over the place. So it would blow up. And Deputy Chair, I mean, besides renovating the building, because it doesn't just stop there, you know, she saw the state of the community. She said, I can't go back. She had to call the chairman and say, I have to stay to see what the conditions are. And she seized the time. She saw the possibilities and she stayed and fight. Her mantra was always, we're not turning back. We're on a mission. We're not turning back. And that's been the mission. She's had to fight tooth and nail for African working class women's leadership, for the leadership of the African working class. She had to fight people who had other notions. She had to fight city bureaucracies, neo-colonial politicians. It was brick by brick and block by block. It was building what the chairman said yesterday, dual and contending power. They're not developers. They are negating the colonial mode of production, building an anti-colonial economy, empowering and a vision for the African nation. And they called, you know, and it was rooting Black working class political power in this community. And that is how the Black Power movement was born. Uhuru. The Uhuru Solidarity Movement was called on, the African People Solidarity Movement and Uhuru Solidarity to bring, you know, coordinate projects, to do the promotions, dynamic webinars that let the country and the world know what was happening and that we could give reparations. For everyone to see, to write grants, to build the NTU approved volunteer brigade and to raise reparations. And that's what we're all here for today, about raising reparations. So we will have, you know, really honored the chairman's on this panel, but I want to also really, you know, salute and give an absolute salute and warm welcome to Deputy Chair, Owners and Nations.
Uhuru, Peter. Wow, that was some introduction, and I just want to say that I'm really excited to be here. I want to say hands off Uhuru. Yes, and I just really want to salute the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Like I said, I'm very excited to present this economic overview of the Midwest region since the party landed right here in the Midwest, right here in St. Louis since 2017. So, you know, all this weekend, reparation has been the talk of everything that we're about. Reparation is not a favor. It's an act of, not an act of charity or a one-time payout. It is a revolutionary demand for the repossession of all of the stolen wealth and resources that rightfully belong to African people. And it's a demand and an act that, when defined by the party, automatically indicts the colonial mode of production and facilitates its demise. This is our opportunity to participate in the emergence of a truly post-colonial liberated humanity. The party enables us to leave behind white cynicism, self-centered gloom and depression, and replace it with optimistic, hopeful vision of the future. One worth living and fighting for, and one that is not waiting on the old colonial world order to die, but in the process of killing colonialism, the new world is already in the process of being born. So I really want to salute my leadership, Chairman Uhuru Solidarity, who has given the world African internationalism, a theory that has navigated the African Revolution to this place of strength for the party and the Uhuru movement. Through the brilliant leadership of Chairman and the NCC, we were able to push forward and navigate the crisis of imperialism and the rising of the resistance in the form of the people through the theory of African internationalism. I want to also salute Midwest Region Representative Columbia Antoinette. For 7 years now, she led the mass organization under the umbrella of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. And now she's in our Midwest as the new Midwest Regional Representative. So I want to salute her.
We're having some technology. I want to make sure to get your slideshow.
Okay, we're on 5.
I'll switch it to 3. Okay. Slide 5. All right, we're good.
So as I was saying, I know that Chairwoman Penny Hess is tired of me saying, you know, that she's the first white woman to go into the white community and challenge white people to stand on the right side of Africa and indigenous people around the world. So I really want to salute her in this presentation as well as I wanted to salute the leadership of Conrad Chair Jesse Neville, who continues to fight on every front in white communities all over the world to bring reparations to the African working class community, the world. And I will be remiss if I don't salute my comrade, who, as she was saying in the beginning, when I got here in St. Louis, I called the chairman on the phone. I said, look, I'm the only one here because at the time, all of the comrades was working a full-time job. I said, Chairman, I need somebody to come to St. Louis and, you know, be on the ground with me full-time. And he made the call, and it was Comrade Catherine, the great Kitty Riley, who has been, you know, on every front of building, you know, solidarity here in St. Louis, and also the project manager for the Black Card Blueprint. And you'll see a lot of her work throughout this presentation as well. Uhuru? So I will only give a brief snapshot of the economic and political work of the Black Power Blueprint over these short past years. Our goal is to seize, hold, and develop in this period for our community. We will be taking a live tour directly after my presentation along the corridor of West Florissant. It's going to be exciting. If you have not seen the Black Power Blueprint in motion, you'll be able to see it live now. So as the chairman states, Africans must be influenced to combine with each other to begin grabbing up properties that have been abandoned and degraded in our community as part of the process of chasing us out, undermining property values and opening the door to vultures for the colonizing nation to easy, cheap acquisitions. We must help the people to understand that groups of Africans coming together can begin to acquire property in the community through economic cooperation. We can also create housing and other kinds of economic cooperatives. This can be part of the foundation for cooperative, socialist influence economics. Our political task is to teach the people to be contemptuous of any kind of dependency. We must also develop the ability to host community meetings throughout our base areas within the U.S. and everywhere that teaches Africans how to deal with the basic economic issues. This should include everything from how to do personal and family budgets to how to initiate businesses, including business plans and acquisitions of startup capital by collectivizing resources, individual savings, etc. So this was a quote from the chairman from the political report of 2017, putting revolution back on the agenda again. So we kicked off the Spring Explosion April 2nd of 2022 with the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market that really set the tone for all of our projects that the Black Power Blueprint had accomplished in the last 6 months ago. So I really want to thank our donors, our volunteers, all the contractors and trade peoples who participated in this Spring Explosion. It was dynamite. And as I said, spring has sprung. So next slide. St. Louis is now the national headquarters of the African Socialist Party and the Uhuru Movement. Since 2017, we have fought to acquire land. We have demoed commercial buildings, and we've begun to renovate these 14 properties that I'm going to show you in a few seconds. And we have completed at least 5 of them in the last 5 years. And what you're seeing right on the screen right now is all the different entities and departments that we have created right here in the Midwest, right here in St. Louis. So that's a lot in the last 5 years. Next slide. So the first property that I'm going to talk about is 4101 West Florissant Avenue. It started right here in this building that you're sitting in right now. We purchased and renovated this building. We did this, Kitty and myself were the contractors. We did this in less than 10 months, which was a record. So from day one, we purchased the Uhuru House on West Florissant, we began the renovation process. This is just a snapshot of a couple of pictures that we taken to show you what it looked like before, but it was worse than this. It was like she was saying, the floors were not there. We had walls in the back that was gone. It was just a hot mess. But we were able to complete this process in less than 10 months. Next slide. So you're sitting in it, so you see what it looks like. It is beautiful, and having this conference, I think was it USM that had the first
Black is back.
the Black is Back was the first event that we had in 2018, and USM was the second event that we had here in this beautiful hall. Next slide. The second property that we acquired was at 4031 West Florissant, which we turned into the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market and the Garris Brook Community Garden. We purchased 2 condemned commercial buildings from the LRA, and then we combined the 4 lots. So there's 4 properties that we purchased next door, and you'll be viewing those in a few minutes. Next slide. And these were the 2 commercial properties that we purchased. And you can see the condition that they were in. So we had no choice but to demo those buildings, and we made a state-of-the-art outdoor venue. And this is where we have our Gary Brooks Community Garden. Next slide. So this is our second year with the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market. The first year was monthly for 6 months. And this year we took on doing the farmers market weekly, starting from April to October. So this month is the last market that we're gonna have, October 29th, that we're gonna have a big Halloween celebration that Columbia was talking about on yesterday. So these are the comrades that are leading the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market. We have Columbia Antoinette, Deborah Warren, Erica Plott, Devon Gammon, Dexter, and Andre, excuse me. Next slide. And here are just a few of the pictures from the market. Next slide. So our April planting of the Garris Brooks Black Power Community Garden is in its 3rd annual season. We have 9 vegetable garden boxes. Flowers and trees have been donated by Brightside Grant and have bloomed in the spring and in the summer. And to the left there is Mr. Gary Brooks, who we named this garden after. Next slide. We have harvest mustard and turnip greens, collards and cabbages, tomatoes, okra, and more. Next slide. The 3rd property that I'm going to talk about is at 4368 College Avenue, which is the Black Power Vanguard Community Basketball Court. So we purchased that lot from the LRA in January of 2018. We demolished it on May 2019, and we demoed the commercial buildings, and now we have completed the Black Power Vanguard Basketball Court that you're going to be touring in a few minutes. Next slide. And this is what it looked like. This is the commercial building that was there. It was actually 2 commercial buildings there. And then we demoed it, and then we seeded it. And here are some of the, here is a picture of a contractor redoing the retention wall that separates the house from the basketball court. We are currently have completed the basketball court. And now Jamie has beautifully done a mural that you're gonna be also seeing at this property as well. Next slide. We also did a groundbreaking of the basketball court that was held right on site. Next slide. Ray Woods and Don, and also pictured as Jason and his master electrician. They were scoping out the wiring that we needed to put underground for the electrical work. Next slide. This electrical line were for the lights. They had to bury this underground. Sport court poured the concrete for the court. This project is have been completed, and we just really want to again salute our donors and our supporters for this work. Next slide. So we say it's not just about building the basketball court, but it's about rebuilding our community. So you will get to see a full scope of this basketball court. It is amazing. The next property that we purchased was at 4360, 58 through 60 College Avenue. And this is where we're gonna have the African Independence Workforce Program. Next slide. So we purchased the fourplex apartment from a private owner in December of 2017. We have completed the interior renovation, and we really want to salute Cliff Bar, is one of our donors who helped make that happen. And all the people that's in the community, USM and APDF donors as well, who are on the move, and I'll be talking about them in a minute. Next slide. So our sister organization, Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles, driven 980 miles from Philadelphia to bring all the beautiful furniture you're gonna see on this tour inside of this complex. And here you see Bub and Snow. They came in snow to bring this furniture, and USC manager Allison Haney also made that trip with Bub, and it was just fantastic. And here you see volunteers from NPDOM. You also see Jesse and Amanda, also volunteer from USM bringing in the furniture. And I don't want to show the furniture yet. I want to really let you come and see it on the tour. Next slide. Here's myself and the King Gate. We were unloading the beds and bringing them into the fourplex. And we put together all the beds with all the volunteers from NPDOM, USM, and from the party. Next slide. Also, we got a grant from JD Chef Foundation for all the appliances. All the appliances they paid for, and they're all in the apartment. We also got AC units, and we also got washer and dryer to accommodate the fourplex as well. So here's the next slide. Here's a little sneak peek of some of the furniture you're gonna see. Like I said, we want to surprise you with the tour. So the apartments are set up beautifully. So it's gonna be really nice. So the next property is 4007 to 4009 West Florissant, which is the basketball. No, it's the Black Power Square and business development. So we purchased that property in 2019 from the LRA as well. Next slide. We demoed these commercial buildings in 2020 from a grant that we received from Cliff Bar. So right now we have invested $20,000, and it's going to cost us like $350,000 to complete this total square. Next slide. So the vision for our business development and retail complex is to place cargo shipping containers on the property that can be used for offices as well as retail commercial space. Next slide. The next property is 3771 West Florissant, which is what we're going to be raising money and focus on this year is the Uhuru Wakalia, which means freedom to nurture. And that's going to be our Women's Health Center and doula, African doula project. Uhuru Wakalia, which means freedom to nurture. The Uhuru Wakalia Center will contribute to empowering us to solve many of the lives and death struggles we face as African women. Building Uhuru Wakalia is the main focus of the funding drive through 2022, with the goal of breaking ground in Spring Explosion 2.0 in 2023. Next slide. Building this capacity to nurture, support, and cultivate healing and wellness skills give African women the opportunity to care for our bodies, which is life-producing. Even more, these women can return the skills they acquired towards building economic capacity for the community members who they train themselves. Next slide. The foundation of Uhuru Wakalia is Yoni's theme, a self-technique that promotes health and reduces stress. It will teach self-care to women who are overworked and extremely stressed by limited resources and a lack of safety in the world at large due to the colonial condition. Next slide. This health center will not only impact the women it serve, but it will train women to be entrepreneurs. Economic empowerment is the foundation of the ability to create the kind of life we deserve. Working for oneself allows for full empowerment because you are in charge. Next slide. This health center will offer a real ground-up approach to community development. As individuals are empowered and work together to empower others in the community becomes self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency reduces stress and provides safety in a way that nothing else does. Next slide. Dr. Ashley Fields of the All African Peoples Development Empowerment Project of our movement coordinated the recent doula program to help facilitate the training that took place on July 29th through July 31st. Next slide. The training was provided by Common Sense Childbirth Institute and the JJ Way accreditation. We successfully trained 14 African women to become doulas. So our seventh property is 3723 Goodfellow. And that's going to be our G-Code Bakery and Cafe. And also that's going to be tied to our African Independence Workforce Program. So we purchased from a private owner on October 2017, the architectural plans and the bakery design by local architect Dwayne Thompson and international bakery designer Michael Susie. And so we have begun the process of demoing, and we just completed the demo for this building. So we've raised like $150,000, but this is a $1.2 million project that we still have to raise resources for. The next slide. This will be a national office for Uhuru Foods and Pies, and also our cafe and bakery will take on the different products that we have. Next slide. Our pies, our sweet potato pies, apple, blackberry, pumpkin, apple crumb, and other delicious African comfort food will be served in the cafe, and the basis for, creating our African Independent Workforce Program training. Next slide. So, like I said, the demo had started. Next slide. There are more pictures of the demolition in process. Next slide. And like I said, the demolition is completed now. So now we're in the process of raising all the resources needed to complete this project. Next slide. So the next property is at 4207 College Avenue, which is the MPDOM National Headquarters. This property was purchased in 2017, and we used it for housing for comrades. And in January 2022, we leased this out to MPDOM for their national headquarters. Next slide. This is also where the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market staff works out and conduct all the farmers market business. Office hours are Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Next slide. Boozy designs are manufactured and sold there as well. They have live sales going on, live fashion shows take place right in their headquarters. Next slide. So the next building is 2654 Bravos Avenue, which is the Uhuru Solidarity Center. That was purchased from a private owner September 2021. We had minor renovations for this building. The property is owned by Black Star Industries, another entity of the Uhuru movement. Next slide. This is where APSC and USM forces go into the white community for Black power to win white people and communities to reparations to African people. And we also, have built a place for the home for Uhuru Planet, that all the manufacturing of the t-shirts and all the other properties are set up in this retail space as well. Next slide. So we had the grand opening, and it was very successful. We had a lot of people come out to participate in the grand opening of this building. We will not be touring this building today. That's why I'm giving a brief overview of all the different entities that we have acquired. Next slide. We purchased 4617 Natural Bridge Boulevard. This is a mixed-use property, which means that it's a commercial storefront with an apartment upstairs. We purchased this building from a private owner. Next slide. 5818 Ferris Avenue is also a property that we purchased that butts up right on Uhuru G-Code. So we wanted to purchase this property because we wanted to be able to open up that space where people can actually walk through and be outside at the outdoor venue that we're going to be creating at Uhuru G-Code and Cafe. Next slide. This is also a property that's one door down from the previous property that I was just talking about. So we want to be on this street because this street butts up to Uhuru Bakery and Cafe. And this property is going to be used as one of the places that we would do the African Independent Workforce Training Program. And it's under renovation right now as we speak. Next slide. So APDF acquired this property through a tax sale at the sheriff's sale auction a couple of months ago. This is a commercial use, and we'll see this property on the tour when we go out today. And it's just right up the street from where we are now. Next slide. 4229 Fair Avenue. We purchased this also at a tax sale, and it's zone B residential. So we want to be able to use it for commercial use, either for housing, more comrades, or being able to make it a business, a workstation where people can come out that don't have property, don't have a place to actually have an office. We can be able to use this facility as well. Next slide. So our economic institutions are important for what they represent to the psyche of Africans who may have lost collective self-confidence as a result of cruelty of colonial capitalism that denies Africans the ability to easily initiate successful life-changing or economic ventures. Next slide. Between the between Black Star Industries and African People's Education and Defense Fund and the Black Power Blueprint, our movement has over 50 institutions, departments, and entities. It is clear we have to move in a new way to meet the growing demands to expand and build. We cannot continue to grow. Reparations from the white community and others who support the right of African people to self-determination and political and economic power changes the flow of resources and diverts them from economic base on parasitic exploitation of the oppressed and put them towards building our liberated anti-colonial economy. Next slide. So what the party has done through its existence, and which is exemplified by the victories of the Black Power Blueprint on the North Side, is to move the struggle beyond protest towards the capture of political, economic, and state power in the hands of the African working class. Taking it beyond protests towards power means that it's not a struggle against racism, to make the police more culturally sensitive, or to convince white people to have more favorable attitudes towards Black people. Next slide. So this is the presentation that I wanted to give, and I just want to say that we're going to be moving into the live tour, and Kitty will give some instructions on how we're going to be moving. But I just want to give the chairman an opportunity to say a few words about, exactly what this means for the Midwest region and how it's going to affect everybody in this room and across the world.
Drop the mic. Uhuru, I want to thank Comrade Deputy Chair and Comrade Kitty for the presentation, for the incredible work that you are seeing now. And I want to express appreciation again to the Solidarity Movement for offering us an opportunity to see the relationship that what it is that you do, and those of you who are making contributions, the relationship of that to an overall struggle, an overall strategy. I think it's extremely important that everybody should contribute to the success of the Black Power Blueprint. But I think it's more important that everybody should understand that in so doing, that you're moving beyond a simple project in North St. Louis. It's bigger than that. It's really important, but every big thing rests upon some kind of foundation. And here is what we're doing now with Black Power Blueprint. In many ways, it's foundational. But I just think it's extremely important, again, to, first of all, recognize the relationship of what we are doing and looking at in your presence to the existence of the African People's Socialist Party. That party didn't start off as a project that would provide an opportunity for people to become contractors and to do this kind of stuff. The thing is that we have to be free, and we've established a strategy to make that happen. And an aspect of that strategy, and that which flows from our understanding of how this whole thing is constructed, is the existence of USM itself. An aspect of, and the thing is that the different iterations of what we do as a party in terms of moving our strategy forward, depending on the effectiveness of those people who are leading that, the level of organization possible that we've achieved, the enthusiasm from that base that we have created for folks that we're willing to come into this process. And some of them come into this process to help build a basketball court, to help do this and that. You know where we're going. And where we're going is toward the destruction of a colonial parasitic system and the liberation of our people and the ability for a new kind of world order to emerge, a new social system to emerge that does not require this parasitic and brutal relationship between peoples and things like that. So I think it's really important to understand that. And this tour that we're making is related to that. It's big, it's humongous. And a really important aspect of it is the assault that is made on the whole colonial mode of production by organizing the colonizers to come into this process, to work to build a new world, to make a statement that we recognize that this payoff that's being offered to us to hold the fort, to stand in front of the oppressed, to protect this whole social system, it doesn't work anymore. We understand that our interests lie with the people. I almost said oppressed people, but the interests lie with the people. And the colonial power, that's not the people. I think it's really important for us not to confuse the colonialists, the colonial power as the people. They are not the people. We are the people. And what we're doing is trying to really repair, develop this relationship between people in the struggle against the anti-people forces and institutions that impose themselves on us. Yeah. So let's do everything that's possible. Let's go ahead and build this Black Power blueprint. Take a look at what's been done already and that you participated in already. And I see some people in this room specifically who made magnificent contributions, and people who I know are going to make more and better contributions. So let's move it forward. Let's build this, and beyond that, I'd simply say, let's go Brandon.
Uhuru, thank you, Deputy Chair. Profound presentation. Okay, so what we're going to do, because of time, we're just doing a walking tour along West Florissant, but it's one of my favorites because you see where the party planted the red, black, and green flag, and then further on down there's another one, and what's coming in the future. You can just see what's happened on this particular avenue. So we'll gather at the door and get ready to go.